Hi everybody, welcome back to the latest video in the Impact series, where we speak to CEOs and founders of companies who are doing great things in the world, doing good, and who share our values of placing as much importance on the people and the planet as they do the profits. Today I'm super excited to be here with Adam Ridgway, who is the CEO and founder of One Moto. So good morning, Adam. How are you doing today?
Absolutely brilliant. Thanks for having me, Mike.
Absolutely. Oh, it's an absolute pleasure. I've got to say, I am really excited about this. Adam is a very old friend of mine. Not only that, he is a big man with a even bigger vision, and who has even been compared to Elon Musk. So let's kind of dive into it, Adam. And for those people that don't know who One Moto are, can you tell us a bit about the company, why you started, and the issues that you're helping to solve via the vehicle or the electric vehicle of One Moto?
Yeah, brilliant. So One Moto is an electric vehicle design manufacturer, and we identified a problem back in 2016. And I live in Dubai. Although the company's out of the UK, we've got a couple of offices in Dubai, India, and Australia. But in 2016, I saw that there was a huge hyper growth potential in the last mile / gig economy, food delivery and so on. And as I sort of noticed in Dubai, there was more and more emphasis on being able to deliver products, food, and so on. And I looked at, and the bikes that ride around are battered, bruised, been on the roads for years. They baggy chains, square tires, being a rider for these years. I thought, I wonder if anyone's building an electric delivery bike. And the answer is no. So I went to a company called Kareem, which were bought out by Uber a couple of years ago. And I said to them, like, what do you need for a delivery bike? And they told us, and we built something more than what they needed. So One Moto, 90% of our business is focused on the last mile vehicles and the commercial vehicles. But then we also have the private or domestic vehicles as well, because it's about providing sustainable mobility for all. And we built this business on 5 core values, solving 3 core problems. And that's sort of the intro of who we are.
And what are those? What are those values, Adam?
So the values, I believe the future of consumerism is building a business aligned with the values of your customers, especially the younger generation, and building that generational loyalty. So we have sustainability. There's no particular order on this, but sustainability, the technology, experience. Then you need the affordability and the convenience, and all of those sort of packaged together. Everything that we say, everything that we do, and we communicate is based on one of those 5 values.
Look, I think that's a great way to go. I mean, again, and that helps to drive consistency through your brand and everything you do. We're similar. We have our values, and it does drive everything we do. So we're people, planet, profit, and purpose as well. So that's those are everything we look at, and the people we partner with helps us to drive all of those decisions. So obviously the last mile sector is where you're kind of I think is where you're putting a lot of emphasis on, isn't it, with your last mile electric vehicles? Look, that's a big problem. I know you've got some great stats about it. So how bad is, or how much carbon, or how much kind of pollution is coming from that particular sector at the moment?
Yeah, well, I'll start off with giving you a statistic. So earlier this year, I believe it was the Times in the UK, they reported that scientists have done their research on pollution, or air pollution, and they're saying it's now twice as deadly as they ever previously thought. And originally it was 3 to 4 years off of someone's life, but they're now doubling that. And when you start looking at motorcycles, and this was phenomenal, because all the research I was doing to find out, is there a market fit? Like, what is the route to market? And just sort of building up the research around Dubai and the UAE and then GCC, it then developed into a white paper, because there's so much surrounding the harm that motorcycles have. And here's some statistics. So at the moment, there's 15,000 delivery bikes on the roads in Dubai every day. And it doesn't sound like a lot. However, those 15,000 produce 16,560 tons of CO2 each year. But we don't, how do you visualize that? It's the same as 273,000 trees grown for 10 years, or 21,000 acres of forest that could have been saved by switching to EV. And that's just 15,000. If you take the UK, there's 1.1 million motorcycles on the roads. Now, a lot of those are going to be more commuting bikes and the weekend rides as opposed to, you know, the couriers and so on. But then you start looking at India, 37 million motorcycles, 20 million in Pakistan, 1.1 million in Africa. When you start sort of extrapolating those figures just on 15,000, 21,000 acres is huge. But yet, when you start going into the millions, that's a monstrous number. So I've been working with the governments over here just to sort of not really educate, it sounds a bit patronizing, but more to help them understand. And the governments have said, you know, we had no idea. We know about cars, we know about the heavy duty vehicles and the commercial vehicles, but I had no idea on motorcycles. So below aeroplanes and cruise liners, per capita, motorcycles are the most harmful road transport to the planet. They've in their first year of life, because it's a combustion engine, and the first year of life, they're 16 times more harmful than an SUV or a bus.
Wow.
In their second year of life and beyond, they're up to 50 times more harmful. So when we look at that as a problem to identify and address head on, we know that the reason why we're focused on the fleets is because you're not selling, say, ones and twos like you are in the domestic market. You're able to finance and provide finance for massive organizations to adopt EV and pass the cost savings over to the riders. The fleet aggregators, they can generate more profit, and that should be fed back to the restaurateurs, so their high commissions are slightly justified. And then obviously you've got the environment, but then you've got the data for the government. So when you start looking at the profitability, the safety and time that's addressed, and then you look at the environment, it's absolutely our cause.
It's a no-brainer as well.
Yeah.
It really is a no-brainer. I don't think it's any better way to put it than that. It's like you said, safer for the driver, it's cheaper, and therefore, you know, like companies should hopefully be more profitable, and it's better for the environment. It's just, you know, win-win-win. So I think it's one
of the best things that we've helped educate, I suppose, or at least help companies understand, is if you look at a fleet of 1,000 bikes, or 100 bikes, it doesn't matter the volume, but with those vehicles, they will repay, that capex investment will repay itself within 5 to 7 months.
Right.
That's in Dubai, and fuel prices are cheap, although they've increased quite considerably in the UAE terms, five increments this year alone. And if you take the cost of fuel, it's around the riders were paying around 3,000 dirhams, which is about £600 a year. Doesn't sound very much, but with the price increases, and if oil goes to $100 a barrel, you're looking at doubling that. And these riders are only earning sort of £600 a month in Dubai. Yeah. If you then put the figures, for the viewers in the UK, our vehicles are about £4,000, roughly, slightly under. And the government, with the OLEV grant and so on, you get £1,500 as a rebate. That takes it down to £2,500. With the price of fuel in the UK, whether you commute for work, or you're on two wheels delivering, you're looking at those vehicles paying themselves off just in the cost saving of fuel, servicing, maintenance, let alone the convenience of not having the downtime because you can commute very, very easily, no traffic jams, park, with respect anywhere. Say it's a no-brainer, but it's just so good for like urbanization. 68% of us are going to be living in urbanized areas by 2050. So having that two-wheel safe form of mobility is just a path for the future.
Yeah, 100%. No, I think yeah, I'm a massive EV fan. I'm massive, but yeah, I think that it's one of the keys to helping us move to a much more sustainable future. And yeah, all the, you know, I know that you're not just it's not just about last mile. You've got you've got a whole range of different EV vehicles, but from scooters, bikes, everything. I think that whole ecosystem, and the more ingrained it gets into people's lives, it's going to have such a huge impact, and so have such a benefit for the planet as well. Look, Adam, I know you're obviously, we've talked a lot about Dubai. You've launched in Dubai. You've also launched into India. You're coming, or you're in the UK. What's the vision? What's the future of One Moto look like in the next 3 to 5 years?
Yeah, great question. I get asked this a lot, and a lot of the times I ask it myself. So we've got 100 city expansion, and as you said, we're India, Australia, UAE, UK, and we've made sales internationally as well, like Kenya, Saudi, and various other places. Our goal is 100 cities by 2024, and alongside that, we're looking at a million vehicles to be sold within that 5-year period, and it's absolutely achievable. But what we're doing is, or the way we're doing it is growing through a dealership or a franchise network. So we've packaged this very attractive, let's call it a franchise. So what Domino's are for pizza, One Moto is for mobility. And it allows micro investors, sort of those that don't have the you know, you want to own your piece of an electric vehicle company. It's going to cost you a fair amount of money. Not everyone has access to that capital. Sure. But there's a lot of people that, whether you've been, say, furloughed, lost your job, you've you know, taken redundancy, whatever it may be, or you just got savings, you can invest to have these pop-up dealerships around, say, around the UK. And some of the landlords are also not charging rent, but they'll work on a rev share. So again, it makes it more affordable. And then if you've got the flagship stores or the EV experience hubs for a slightly larger investment, then you're able to own your franchise. And that's really how we're going to be growing into these 100 cities. And also from a sustainability point, every territory we operate, we're going to be building an assembly and manufacturing plant, because it reduces that carbon footprint of you know, of shipping and transportation. It also increases jobs, but it's not just about that predatory way of entering a market and capitalizing or monopolizing that workforce. It's about working with companies in the UK that already have say a presence, whether it's in EVs or not, that may be able to fabricate, assemble, manufacture components, and then we work to reverse engineer those parts and build this new wave of One Moto fleet, and that's really the goal of what we're doing and how we're going to be expanding. We will go for IPO in 2 years, so we're 6 months away from really starting that 18-month journey. What happens? Yeah,
sky's the limit. I mean, as I said at the start, you know, a big man with an even bigger vision, and it's great to see. It's, you know, I have no doubt that yourself and will help propel One Moto to the stratosphere. 1 million vehicles. I mean, that is a phenomenal number. I mean, I can't do the maths. I'm not sure. I mean, have you done the maths yet as to how much carbon you think that could save?
Well, no, I have. Sorry, the team have. I'm not the finance guy and the numbers guy, but we have looked at, because we don't just do the delivery bikes. We do the mopeds, the rider collection, which is the e-bikes, as well as the delivery van, and then the scooters as well. So we've got multiple vehicle forms, and it's not just about the fleets, but through the app, we've gamified sustainability. So, you know, yourself, you have an e-bike, your wife has an e-bike, the kids have a scooter, your at work you use a delivery van, whatever it may be, then as a collective, as a family, a bit like Apple, how all your devices are connected, it shows you the carbon savings, that carbon footprint, and gives you sustainable credits, or that sort of reward loyalty program. And that type of carbon offset and calculation is close to impossible to guess. But so we're just focused on what we can control, or at least sort of calculate through fleets.
Yeah. Well, whatever the number is going to be big. And as I think in terms of everyone that's watching this, what I would say to you is that I'll include a link to Adam's LinkedIn profile with the bio. Obviously, we're going to be posting this out. Do check him out. He's active on LinkedIn. He's always got a lot of really good content. So connect and follow One Moto if you're interested in looking at one of the options down the franchise model, or getting involved. IPO coming up in 18 months or so. There's lots of opportunities for people to kind of get involved in the brand and help that journey as well. So, look, Adam, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much for appearing on the show today. And good luck with everything.
Thank you so much for having me, mate. Really appreciate it.